I have prepared nothing for this episode.
You want to say good morning?
We brought Oso again. It's impossible to live in this denial la land of constant positivity.
I felt fear or I felt anger today. It's really, really interesting to notice what your brain is addicted to. We are getting married.
I don't have that much excitement about it. I don't know.
What? I've had the hardest year of my life and come up against so much intense information.
My heart just absolutely shattered into 1,000 pieces. Could you imagine having a kid-free wedding? No. And it was like, whoa, she's turning 1 in a couple days.
I am reading comments, by the way.
I still think you shouldn't. Stress is not good for you.
You were up and now you're
No,
going
I'm
back
just thinking
down.
that's why comments suck.
Yeah.
I don't feel fired up to do these kind of episodes where we just sit and talk about things we've done.
Well, then I think this might be the last you and me episode.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Reroot, the #1 most reviewed podcast in the world. We wanted to quickly thank everyone for taking 1 second and clicking the subscribe button. We just found out 67% of our viewers on YouTube are not subscribed, and it's absolutely free. It'll mean the world to us because it'll help grow the show and allow us to get bigger guests. We've got big dreams to have some big names on the show. And if you would just take 1 second to boom, click the subscribe, it would mean the world.
Today, we just wanted to touch base with all of you and send a genuine thank you out there. This feels so right. We are loving podcasting. This is episode 9.
Wow.
And thank you. It's because of you that we get to sit here and call this a job. We were just looking at each other like, what? This is so incredible. And if you had told me a year ago when we were up against the world and everything felt like it was falling apart, it's genuinely one of those clear pathways that open up when you think the world is ending. It's kind of like, no, it's just beginning. This is the beginning of something new and very exciting. So thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. Today, we put a call out on Reroot Pod on Instagram and asked you to ask us some questions. So we want it to be more casual, although I've seen some of the questions and I know it's not going to be casual. So
I have prepared
we have
nothing for this episode. So this is off the top of the dome. I don't even know what people are wondering.
Yes. Well, what's really cool is today is Frankie's first birthday. It's November 14th as we record this. And you and I sat down last night and just had a little reflection on the last year. And I think I didn't sleep because I felt really emotional about it all, but in a really positive way. This year has been 7,000 lifetimes and one really quick sped up year all in one. And I can see it in Frankie, who's almost walking and talking and all of the things. And as I said to you last night, I just want to thank you for being the supportive partner you are, the present father you are, and just for helping our family find our feet during a really, really difficult time. So it feels like today is Frankie's birthday. We celebrate her first and foremost, but I really want to celebrate us as parents and as a couple of 12 years, you know?
Yeah. I mean, baby, honestly, this year has been a real test, and it showed me that there's nothing we can't overcome together. And I wouldn't take back a single minute of it. Just it's one thing for me to sit in this position and try and picture what I would have been like if the tables were reversed. And there were definitely days where I wish that. But it's easy to say that. And your dedication to becoming healed and your belief in it. And, when you can say all these things, but when you go into the regular world, it's so easy to get kicked down and beaten down. And you read a comment or someone hacks our Facebook and starts posting random stuff. All these little moments are just constantly testing you. And it's, you're showing me, but you're also going to show our little girl just how freaking strong you are. She already knows.
Yeah. Thanks.
Very
buddy.
lucky to have you.
We did this breath work last night, and during it,
You were gone.
I was, can I have a Kleenex actually,
Gone.
just in case? Yeah, I find breath work for me is the real, it's almost a bypass. Meditation, you really have to sit with stuff and things come up. But when you're focusing solely on breath, and it's an intense almost workout. Like it's like we do the 3-part breath. It's like
Yeah, it's very physical.
it's very physical, and your brain starts at the beginning saying, how are you going to do this for 30 minutes? You can't do this for 30 minutes. And then all of a sudden, I just saw so much purple, which is really interesting, actually, now that I'm sat in the studio. Purple is this Reroot pod's color, and it's also a color of divine energy and healing, I really believe. So I saw so much purple, and then I saw me a year ago looking in the mirror in the hospital bathroom. So before Frankie was born, we spent the night in the hospital, and we had all these affirmations on the mirror. And I just remember looking me dead in the eyes, and it was almost as if present me entered my body. Oh, I get like chills.
Wow.
In the breath work last night, it was as though present me was telling myself in that mirror, you're going to do this. You're not a victim of this diagnosis. You're having a baby tomorrow.
It was the night before?
Yeah. I'll never forget looking in the mirror, and I was really looking in my eyes. Like I wanted to just crumble. I wanted to cry and not do any of it. You know, I didn't want to face any of it. And something came over me, and it's like, you dog, I don't know, you've got this, and we're going to do it. And it was really powerful breath work. So I encourage everyone his name's Avery Whitmore. He's on the Aloe Moves app, but I'm sure he has guided stuff somewhere else too. We have to find him, but it was incredible. Really, really special. And what was really cool about the end of that one is he guides you to see the people who have supported you in your life. You sort of end up in this circle of people. And last night, it's all coming together as I reflect on it. It was 1 million people, and it was all of you. I genuinely felt like I was so supported by our audience and our community, and I know that I am. I know that the energy you guys are sending me is healing and positive and full of hope, which is what we've always asked of you. And I saw that, and I was so grateful for everyone. And then it turned, and he says, just know that they've been supported by you. And it was so powerful because it's that reminder in your inner circle as well that, you know, I feel so supported by you, but I also support you so much, you know, and that it's this reciprocal love that is so powerful.
Yeah, and it's also like subconscious energy, right? It's not even like, you know, you can say and do and act, but it's like that. If you believe in energy, there's a lot going on with your energy field that you're even out of control of. So if you know, it's crazy. We were listening to this guy, David Guillaume, I'm recently obsessed with. Okay. He talks about Kabbalah, and he's this teacher, and it's just an incredible guest. Cannot wait to have him on the show. But he's talking a lot about even your energy of, like, let's say someone shares good news with you, and sharing that news can actually be a negative thing.
Because I'm jealous or something when you share the news, or why would it be negative?
Yeah, I guess I haven't fully formed this thought.
My brother's always referencing Tim the Toolman Taylor. If anyone knows what's it called? Home Improvement? I think it's called Home Improvement, the show. And he would go and get all this wisdom from his neighbor over the fence. And the neighbor would give him this like really wise piece of advice. And then Tim would be like, yeah, and go home and say to his wife all the things.
Repeat it wrong. So I guess my what I've kind of digested from it is like there's subconscious energy. So even people that are thinking positive things, but if they subconsciously don't feel that way, it's bad vibrations.
100%.
But I think it's cool to see like you've got this 1 million people that are sending you positive energy.
I think the best thing we ever did was set the boundary for our inner circle. And then I asked everyone on YouTube when we came back with the life update, hey, I realize that fear is going to come up. Yeah. But when it comes up, please replace it of this image of Frankie and I doing cartwheels, because I know it's happening for us. And at the time, like, my body was in so much pain, and, you know, I'm not in any pain anymore. You should see me at these workout classes I've been going to, just absolutely sobbing of joy and gratitude for my body that is moving in ways that I just knew would happen. But, you know, a year ago, I couldn't have believed it for myself. or I was just beginning to find the belief. So it's very exciting.
Wow. Yeah, you come home like dripping in sweat after these workout classes. It's crazy to think that you were prescribed hydromorphine 9 months ago.
Black Friday is here at drinkhabit.com.
All the teas are 20% off.
Eamon couldn't wait.
That's a big deal.
Biggest sale of the year, 20% off all teas. I genuinely started this tea company to create teas that I wanted to drink all the time. The organic lavender mint is $10 US right now, and it is so delicious. It's the perfect gift as well. So if you're thinking it's too early to think about gifts, it's not. You know, you want to show up at someone's house. Nobody's drinking wine these days. We're all sober. So bring a bag of tea.
And don't wait last minute. This is a classic me. It's like,
Yeah.
the day before Christmas, I don't have anything cool. You run out, you try and go to the shopping mall. Don't do that. That's a bad call. Get something unique. Get something handcrafted. Get something that people will love. Pair it with a Real Talk. Get like 5 or 6 Real Talks, 5 or 6 teas, and then you're sorted. You've got like your people. Not to be too salesy, but the matcha is also on sale.
All of them are on sale. Rooibos chai is what I'm drinking right now. It's caffeine free. So all of the delicious health benefits of chai, that warming feeling.
That's probably our most underrated tea.
I
because
totally
we don't really talk
agree.
about that. It's amazing. It's caffeine free.
Yeah.
You can make it as a chai latte.
So good.
And I love Rooibos.
And of course, while you're there, you can always shop our starter kits, which are the sets that come with all the pieces you need to make cafe style lattes at home.
That's like, you get your tea and your Real Talk for like a good friend. This is like a really special friend. Get them the kit. There's going to be a big wow factor. It comes in the box, wrap it up nice. Boom. Whoa. All right. Drinkhabit.com. You know where to go. You know what to do.
Thanks for the support,
Love
you guys. Should we just talk about my gym for a second?
Yeah, let's give a shout out to...
No, I don't want anyone to know where I'm going.
Okay, we'll bleep that.
It's like my sacred place. This gym is the perfect mix of the hardest hit Pilates workout you've ever seen. It's in a heated room. And then they mix in spirituality. Like the women who guide these classes are so tuned in. And they just, even last night, she was saying, we're doing burpees, right? And she goes, what's the thought that just came up right when it got hard? She knows exactly when it gets hard. She goes, are you going to fall into that pattern again? You could be coming here for 8 years and see no change, because in that moment, your programming tells you this is when we stop doing burpees because it gets a little too hard. I'm running out of breath. I can't feel my legs. And when you push past that, that's when the change happens. When it's hardest is when it matters the most.
That's why I'm so obsessed with this stuff. Like, I feel like I'm a new person in the sense of like discovering the world, because the power of your mind relates to everything. It's literally, if you use that example of working out, you don't even know that you only think you can do 20 pounds, right? So every time you go to the gym, you grab the 20 pound, you just keep lifting the same thing, and you think maybe I'll do an extra one. But if you overcome that belief system, then you can just all of a sudden pick up 30s.
Yeah.
And then next week, fuck it, just go 35s.
Well, what's stopping you?
Yeah.
The only thing that's stopping you is you.
Yeah.
And when you really embody that, it's very powerful.
Yeah.
Oof.
I was talking to my brother yesterday. We did a leg workout at his condo. Killer leg workout. But he was kind of like, are you feeling stronger? I'm not really feeling anything. We've been working out for 3 months very regularly. Shout out to the protein pandas. And I was like, well, are you tracking? He's like, yeah, like kind of in my head. I was like, I guarantee you're not going up in weight. Right? You have these beliefs that like, oh, this is the squat rack. My name's Cameron. This is what I do on the squat rack. Right? You got to shatter that.
Yeah. So what is your tip for that? How do you shatter that?
Honestly, meditation. You've got to start by working on yourself and unpacking the power within you and just soaking up this information. Like, listening to these spiritual leaders. Joe Dispenza was kind of the first person we got into, but now I'm like into freaking
Kim Snyder,
Gary Braden. Greg Braden.
Oh, Greg Braden.
Unbelievable human.
Yeah.
This guy, David Guillaume. Even that neuroscientist, Tara Swart.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's it's all backed in science.
Yes.
That's what's cool. It's like a lot of people are like, oh, spirituality, stuff like that. But no, these people are doing the test. I mean, Tara is a great person to start. She was just on the Diary of a CEO podcast. Highly recommend it. she's talking about just all these little things that they're figuring out. Like apparently if you look into someone's left eye, you naturally,
That's your left
your
eye?
left eye.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at your left eye, it's a little bit of a hack because there's a bonding mechanism that goes on that starts as early as, because most babies are held by their mom in their left hand because they use their right hand generally to do stuff, pour a cup of coffee. So they're used to getting that love and bonding from that early age into their left eye. So if you're on a date or if you're in a business meeting, like it's like a little hack you can do, like hit them in the left.
I do feel very connected to you now that I'm looking in your left.
Really?
Yes. Or did you just hit me
Left
with some
is
good
not my
eye contact?
natural thing.
No, me neither. I'm always looking at this one.
Yeah, it's almost like weird for me to start going left.
I love it. Speaking of Tara, she gave me this really cool tip too of before you even become conscious of the fact that you are awake. So we wake up and we start going, what time is it? Should I get up? And then like the program really kicks on. But one of her practices is before she even says, what time is it? So she's noticed she's awake. She starts a gratitude list. And she's grateful for her pillow. She's grateful for the bedding, the pajamas that are so comfortable. And by doing that, you are telling your brain, today we live in oxytocin. We live in a state of gratitude and oxytocin versus the cortisol of what time is it? The kids got to go. I got to go. You start that program first thing in the morning. So I listened to this, and then 2 mornings ago, Frankie had a really tough night. I was with her and I ended up falling asleep in the bed in her nursery. We have a queen bed in there. And I woke up and I caught myself waking up and I was like, okay, the pillow. I'm so thankful for this pillow. And then I was like, but what pillow am I on? I'm like, don't think about it too much. Just have gratitude for the pillow. And then I'm like hugging another pillow and it's like this flat, tiny pillow. I'm like, what pillow am I? And I immediately go into the stress response because I'm freaked out of where did I just wake up, because I thought I was in our bed, of course. So it was so funny because I'm trying to be in oxytocin state and really relax, but instead I switched right on into cortisol. So
God, I'm so jealous of how like unaware you are. Like it sounds like you're able to really like leave your body even when you wake up. Like
no, that's different.
No, but even to not like my brain, I'm so aware of every little thing. Like I would just know that I woke up in that bed. I would never like be gone enough.
No, but I caught the whole exercise is the second, like.
But you know how I love surprises?
Yeah.
It's because I'm so not surprised by things. Like I'm predicting things. Like I don't know. I think the way my brain is worked is that I am like specifically aware of very physical things.
Are you living in fear? Are you always trying to predict the unknown?
No, I just think I'm like really observant.
Yeah.
But I think I would love to like wake up and not know where I am. It's interesting.
I want to reiterate that I woke up and before I had any thoughts. So you're probably thinking of like the 10 seconds later. I mean, no, I also maybe am just what you're saying.
I don't know. It's hard to picture waking up and right away
confused.
remembering what she said about gratitude.
Yeah, but it's because the night before I was like, I can't wait to wake up. First thing I'm going to do is remember gratitude. I really want to try this practice. I'm going to implement it. Yeah. I'm on day 3 and honestly, it's challenging because my brain clearly likes the cortisol first thing in the morning.
What, it's challenging to slow down and do the gratitude list?
This morning I woke up and I was like, I wonder what time it is. I'm like, well, I've already gone too far. Well, let's have gratitude. I'm like, gratitude for the pillow. I'm like, like I've already done this the last 2 days. So I have to. So it's really, really interesting to notice what your brain is addicted to.
Are you trying to actually feel gratitude for the pillow? Like not just like, oh, I'm grateful.
Yes.
Like you're trying to bring
That's
an
where I'm
elevated
getting
emotion.
stuck. That's where I'm getting stuck because I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful for this pillow. And I'm like, are you feeling grateful? Or are you kind of like, let's just do this practice to get it over with? Yeah. It's about feeling the gratitude, right? Our first question that Emma has bolded because it means all of you are asking the same question is, how are we approaching growing our family? What did we think that would look like and what does it currently look like? Have we explored me being pregnant again, surrogacy, adoption, fostering? What does that all look like to you? I'll start with a question to you.
I think you and I are both very much aligned that we want more kids. before Frankie, I would choose probably 5 or 6. Now maybe like, I don't know. Why limit yourself, right? Yeah. We did make the rash decision to remove your ovaries, which looking back on was kind of a way bigger decision than we knew at the time, especially with this work and knowing and believing how healed you are. But, maybe you grow ovaries back. Who knows? We're unlimited beings. But in the case that doesn't happen right away, or it takes too long, we do have 5 embryos. So blessed to be able to have those in the freezer somewhere. And
lovingly in the freezer somewhere.
Frozen in time and space. And yeah, I mean, I think this year we could pop them in. I mean, obviously we're waiting on like the physical bill of health. I think that's just coming. It's in the mail. We haven't had a checkup in a few months, so we haven't figured out exactly what the science says. And then I think it's going to be it's going to be our decision ultimately, of course. And I think it's probably going to be something that the doctors advise against. We haven't had like a real conversation about this, but, for those that don't know, like estrogen spikes when you're pregnant. Bec's cancer was estrogen driven. In my mind though, like cancer can't live in your body. I don't care how much estrogen you throw at it. Like I really just don't think cancer is going to spiral out of control in your body anymore. It can't. Cancer doesn't live in a whole aligned body. And I really believe that. So I think we've always wanted to have our kids very close in age. So Frankie's 1 now, and this will be the year to do it.
Yeah, it is so interesting. This podcast is an excuse for us to have these conversations that we should probably have offline before we just jump on a podcast and talk about it. But I know that we're aligned. We've always wanted multiple kids. You came from a household of triplets, and then you all within 2 years, essentially. So that's a lot of siblings and a lot of love. And now as we're older, it's so fun to have siblings who are our best friends. And I think that does come. You could have it with a big age gap, I'm sure of it. But I feel very lucky and blessed that both of us have a lot of siblings, or I have 2, all within a couple of years too. So my brother and I are 2 years apart, and my sister and I are 2 years apart. So I was sandwiched in the middle and have the best of both worlds with like a best female friend and a best male friend in my siblings. So before all of this, we definitely figured by now I'd probably start trying to have a baby again. And I feel in my heart that I'd be ready for that. I really do. Where I'm at is just fear around all of it. Fear of embracing this idea that someone will implant an embryo for us, and that not being realized. And then it's just all stuff I'm coming up against, right? Like I'm afraid to embrace the idea, but the whole point is you have to embrace it anyways and work past the fear. I've thought of surrogacy, and I really believe that would be a beautiful gift for someone to give us. And should that be our path, I'd be eternally grateful, and I would completely work through all of it. But just knowing how hard I found it to not even provide my own breast milk in the beginning and all of these things, there's nothing I truly want more than to carry another baby and to do it in such a different state of being. I was just in so much pain with Frankie near the end. I can and do remember all of the feelings of her being in my belly, but I would just really, really soak it up. To go back to the gym, even I was saying to Sarah on the way home, I'm so grateful for all of the crisis I've been up against, like genuinely so grateful, because when I'm in that gym, I'm crying. I'm literally crying. Like I'm sobbing tears of joy. And like how many people get to feel that kind of gratitude for their body moving? And maybe it's only because I've had the hardest year of my life and come up against so much intense information that I get to feel that way. I know everyone can, and we can tap into that kind of gratitude, but
I don't think you can.
There's something about
I don't think you could tap into that level of gratitude.
Having that low, everyone else is just squatting, and you turn to me and I'm like, like just so happy. It's the greatest. So I guess to wrap that up, we aren't sure. We don't know. And I think the most important piece is not to put pressure on ourselves. There's this biological clock of it all. There's this knowing that we wanted our kids close together. And I do feel the weight of that sometimes, but I really am giving myself the permission to fold into the unknown and know that it's all working out exactly how it's meant to for us. And the soul that is coming next is ready when we're ready, you know, and there's no reason to rush that. I just think.
Yeah, I just want to preface my answer that like my answer was very much my perspective.
No,
and of course it's going to be, you know, more so your decision. Oh, actually all your decision really.
No, because we both want kids.
Yeah, but I can't. I just don't want to put pressure on you that I want a kid and you should start feeling that. You need to be fully 100% ready on your own terms. And I'm down whenever that is.
Thank you for saying that.
Of course.
You know what gives me a lot of peace with it all is that we live with my brother and Sarah and Sophie. Their daughter is 6 months. So her and Frankie are 5.5 months apart. And even they're getting closer and closer to really interacting. Sophie was down with us this morning. And it's going to be that sibling relationship in Frankie's life. Like she will learn to share. I know that she'll have exposure to really special relationships that are sibling-like until we're ready for another sibling. So.
Yeah. Could you imagine having another baby now, right? Just like logistically.
You know what's crazy?
It'd be mayhem.
I can.
I know, me too. That's the psycho part is like I was on here
Not
6
long
weeks
ago.
absolutely bitching about it. Yeah, I guess more than 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The first episode.
Yeah.
But I had like a real enlightened moment 2 days ago where I finally felt like, holy shit, this is going to go really quickly. Because people, that's like the number one thing they say. You know, the old guy at the swimming lesson was like, hey, I got a 16-year-old daughter. It goes quick, bud. Like it doesn't feel like that. This year has been very much slow-mo. It's been not slow-mo, but like the days take a long time. You know, you finally get her down for a nap, then you finally clean the house, then she's up again. It's just like very intense adjustment. But 2 days ago, it just overcame me with just, I don't know, I looked at her and she was standing and it was like, whoa, she's turning 1 in a couple days. So yeah, it's, you know, people say enjoy it. I don't know how to do that or soak it up or just screenshot it in your head. I don't think you can actually do that, but just, I guess,
you can.
I think just being aware of it and, you know, trying to gratitude and appreciate those little moments and love, you know, every single minute as much as you can and film it, you know, document it.
I think something, because we don't film as much for YouTube or even on Instagram, and I don't want her on social media as much, I almost forget to just pick up the camera just for fun. But yesterday, because she was turning 1 today, I did a couple videos, and as we were falling asleep, I was rewatching them because it is so important to document that. When you're with the kid every single day, you don't realize how much progress you do and you don't. But when your mom comes over, and my mom hasn't seen her for a week, and they say, oh my gosh, like, did you know she's doing this now? I'm like, yeah. You just have to document these things. Like we used to have our home videos with our parents, and I can't wait to watch them back with her. And
yeah, I'm super upset that mine are gone.
Oh,
My parents lost them somehow in the move, the broken family.
Oh, gee.
Poor me. I'm just kidding.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Or?
No, I'm very much okay with it. I just thought I'd have a little pity party.
Yeah.
Because it would be so cool to watch some stuff or have some.
But I know that they're gone, but they were in the family when I've been here for 12 years at some point, because I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
I've seen that cannonball. I've seen the triplets hanging out, and then your mom watching only them on camera, and you being like, Mom, look at me, and doing a cannonball into the water.
I probably don't even want to watch them. I was probably such a brat.
No, that's what's so cute about all of it, you know? Yeah. So kids, we want a big family. I think we're meant to have a big family. You and I just have a lot of love to give, and if we give it all to Frankie, she'll walk through the world like, doesn't everyone love me? Like, what's going on?
She needs a sibling.
Yeah, she needs. Down. Although it is good, like I said, to have Sophie around, and even her witnessing my mom with like the baby while I'm with her is like, because my sister was the first to have a kid in our family. I think her daughter, when my mom started holding Frankie for a year later, she was kind of like, wait a second, Gigi's mine. Gigi's mine.
My
like,
Gigi.
give me my Gigi back, you know?
Yeah,
Not that we can avoid that totally, because I'm sure Frankie will have a little Gigi face as well, but
For sure.
it's all good. I'm so grateful we did the IVF as well. You know,
for sure.
everything has divinely worked out, because I remember when we conceived Frankie, I was sort of feeling like that was a pretty intense month before I started chemotherapy of the IVF, and that whole process was so intense. Did I really need to do that? But of course, somewhere deep
Insurance
down
policy.
I knew. Yeah. And it is a beautiful insurance policy to have. And I'm so aware of everyone's journeys with IVF, infertility, and I have so much gratitude for the success we had in one round. Really, really big stuff. Five babies. A wedding update. Shall we get into? This is another bolded one. You guys are interested in the wedding, which makes me very excited. We are getting married.
I don't have that much excitement about it. I don't know.
What?
Yeah, I'm excited about it, but I'm not like. I guess I am.
What are you talking about? Okay, you and I do this thing where we're really hot on it. It's happened for the last 7 years. We're like, we're getting married. We're going to plan it. We're all excited. It's going to be amazing. And then because we don't have a wedding planner or someone in our life, we just drop off.
Yeah.
So it sort of started happening this time. We said we were going to do it. We booked some cabins. We're like, it's definitely happening, telling everyone in our lives. And then thankfully, we got a wedding planner.
Yeah. That's a good move for us.
What is the plans for the wedding? I feel like you're so excited. What's going on? You don't want to talk about it?
Is this really interesting? I'm just feeling like this episode is like not that interesting.
Really?
I don't know.
I think that's a complex you have.
It's good, Andrew?
It's interesting.
Okay.
I think you're at a place where sharing like everyday things, even though a wedding is not an everyday thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I want to add value to people and like, you know, like do people really care to listen about our wedding plans?
It's a bolded question.
Wow.
People are very interested.
Yeah.
You're interested?
I'm interested.
All right.
Do you want to like do a jumping jack or something? You've rubbed your eyes 100 times. Like, come on, baby. You want me to reintro the wedding question or what's wrong?
I don't know. I just had like a little mood.
You did.
Yeah.
Your little victim.
A little pity party.
Look at what we're doing for work, babe. We're sitting here having a chat.
I know. I guess I just don't. I guess I got to understand that people care. Like I don't care that much to listen. Like it's just a weird concept to me.
But if you were chatting with your friend on the couch and they said, well, tell me about your wedding, you'd be like, we're getting a tattoo artist. She's coming for 2 days. I think that half the people will be getting a tattoo. Like you'd be amped.
All right.
Aren't you all excited to like jet ski up to the dock?
Yes,
I thought I heard
we haven't
something
talked about it on the
somewhere along
pod.
the line.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's. Should we leave all this in or what?
I don't know.
I just feel like I guess people care. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I wanna add value and like
There's no value in talking about.
I just feel so privileged, like sitting here talking about like all of our wedding plans. Just feels like very like braggy almost. I don't know.
Okay, you want to skip the wedding question?
No, we can do it.
No, let's skip it for now and come back to it.
I feel like maybe it's because you celebrate every day in life. The fact that there's all this pressure for this one day, and so many people give it way too much attention and way too much pressure, that's what turns you off from it. I don't think it's the actual day. I think when it happens, you'll love it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna look forward to everything leading up to it. But
I think that's a good.
You don't have to put too much pressure on
No,
it.
but
And I
neither
don't-
of us do.
I don't
feel
think
like.
people should put too much pressure on it. People put this like, oh, it's gonna be this dream day. Like it should be about love. It should be about every single day.
Yeah.
I think that's a really solid point, and I am excited about the wedding. The wedding. I mean, the main part that I'm fired up about is the fact that everyone in our life is going to be there.
Yes.
They're gonna fly in. They're all gonna meet each other.
Yes.
You know, I just can't wait to just stand up and look around that tent and just see those eyeballs and souls that came from all these different places, all these different times, and they're all there together. It's going to be so powerful. And of course it's going to be beautiful. Like we do have an amazing wedding planner. We got a couple, like it's going to be a wellness weekend. So we're planning a 4-day wedding at the cabin. And we're going to have breath work, yoga in the morning, catering, food trucks. We're gonna have options to have either massage or a tattoo.
It's the two extreme things of life. Do you want to just relax and have a massage, or just go get jabbed and get a tattoo? But everyone I've been telling about the tattoo is like, I'm so down.
I know.
Yeah.
Adam and I got into a little little debate. He's like, bro, there's no way half the people are getting tattoos. I started reading him the list. I was like, yes, definitely we'll get one. Okay, maybe not. Yeah. Okay, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like when people start to see what they are, they're not going to be like Eamon Bec wedding 25. Like, come on. They're going to be like a really cool butterfly.
No, we're going to do the butterfly.
I was thinking a butterfly, a bee, maybe a paddle. A wildflower.
See, we need to have these conversations offline. These are all so cool.
Yeah.
I love the idea of like little wildflowers. I want to get them like up here. What days are we doing this? Because I think maybe I don't want to do it and then have the patch on for like in my wedding dress.
You could do it Sunday.
Is she going to be there on the Sunday?
We could stop in on the way home or something.
Because I think that would be the barrier for a lot of the women anyways. The men probably will be wearing shirts. But women don't want to be wearing their cute dress. I know it's a casual wedding, but then have like, I guess we do the second skin now, right?
Yeah, it'll add a little shine, but they'll edit that off. I think it's like, well, I got a tattoo on my wedding day, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get all 5, I imagine.
For sure. For sure I will.
Yeah.
Because I want matching tattoos with everyone.
That's what's so fun. Is so, just to clarify for people, we're not going to let anyone choose anything. Imagine someone wants like a full sleeve.
Yeah, like Posty would want like a full dragon. Yeah, he would take up the whole time.
So the plan is to have 5 designed and drawn tattoos.
Like Flash. Like you go in, you go, okay, I'll take that one.
Yeah. But how cool that like at some point you have so many matching tattoos with people in our lives. Should we just pause for that?
Well, we don't need to go through them all.
Just tell me a few of them.
This is probably the most memorable one.
Which one is that? Oh, yeah.
Star anise.
Yeah.
I really wish Lee got that, but she didn't.
Well, if Lee had gotten it, I would have gotten it.
I know.
Yeah.
You guys should have gotten it.
Yeah, I think it was because she didn't want a matching one with Max. Because they were about
going
to.
through some shit
Yeah.
But Max has it. Posty has it. Aubrey has it.
And you.
And me.
Yeah. 4 of you. And then the LET, I think, is a really good one.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it feels like just me and Craig. Let him talk. That's for the comment section. It feels like Craig and I only have a matching one, but Amy does have one, but she changed the design, so it's not really.
And hers is
matching.
So much more elegant and does not include like the shaky
like Amy's
hand
better.
gest. Yeah, hers is way better. Women just take a pause and are like, "Do I want this on my body forever?"
So you want it to be on the show?
Come on, baby.
Come on, Oso. Come here.
You want to say good morning?
We brought Oso again. He's knocked over a few things already, but he's here. Come on. No, you're not going. We're not going anywhere.
My dad was
like
at the house
hours.
and willing to take Oso for a 2-hour walk, and Eamon said, "Nope, he's coming to the studio." So, I hope you're happy, baby.
Anything else you're excited about for the wedding?
Everything that you said. Just, you know, what's really cool is a lot of people in my life will have just given birth or will have newborn babies. It's just the way things work out, and obviously we waited a long time to have a wedding. So I'm really looking forward to the kids. I know that a lot of people prefer a kid-free wedding, but I think because it's this retreat.
Could you imagine having a kid-free wedding? Like,
no. I mean, first of all, our kid is there.
Yeah.
She's not going anywhere. I'm so excited to see her walk down the aisle. Like, she'll probably be with our other nieces and potentially even Fraser and Dawn's kid. Like, it's just, the kids just keep coming. I really think we're in this phase.
We have a bouncy castle.
Yeah, a bouncy castle for the kids.
Bunch of babysitters.
Yes. I actually had this meditation. There's these cabins. So we've rented ones across the way. We've rented our neighbors. And then there's this other set of 5 cabins that I've been manifesting we're going to buy for a long time. They have this beautiful beach. They're so run down. Like, I can't even explain it. The fact that people go and stay there is kind of mind-boggling. Like, I think the floor is missing floorboards.
Yeah, like there's no foundation.
Yeah. I had this meditation where it was so clear that we go to them and we say, "Hey, can we rent your place for the wedding?" And then somehow we end up buying the property. And it's part of like this next phase. We are so drawn to community, and we are so desperate for our siblings to essentially live on the same street as us. Like, we keep saying the triplex is a life hack, but now we want, you know, my sister and her kid and your brother having their kid all the way out in Hamilton. It just feels far when you have babies. So imagine in summer, we could fix up these 5 little cabins with this beautiful beach, have a gazebo in the center.
Yeah,
I'm way off topic of the wedding because now I'm talking about this next big project, but I just could feel it. And when you feel it, it's coming for you.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Just put it out there.
Yeah. I think
that.
it's putting it out there is really important, but what people miss in manifestation is drawing it to you with that feeling.
And my boy David talks about your belief system being the number one thing that gets in the way. So you can have all these dreams or talk to your friends about some job or some car you want to buy or whatever it is. But if your deep down belief system thinks, no, I couldn't actually get that job, or I'm not good enough to get that job.
I'm not worthy of it.
Or, that job would give me too much money and money is bad. Like all these little underlying things that you will not necessarily know, I think, unless you meditate and sit with yourself. That's like the number one thing. Or some way of tuning into yourself.
Yeah. Those subconscious beliefs, I think, are so disguised as the program of our personality that we don't realize or recognize we have all those beliefs, right? So yeah, there's nothing stopping me. I could feel us renovating those cabins. Wouldn't you guys love to watch us renovate 5 cabins that are just falling apart? I would be so excited to make that content and to live at the cabin all summer and then just offer those cabins to our family and friends all summer. It's just a constant community.
That'd be amazing.
Amazing. Because as much as we keep adding bedrooms to our place and we're like, oh, we'll turn the greenhouse into a bedroom and the basement into a bedroom. It's been wonderful. But once there's that many more kids, it's like, it's exciting to think about. So I'm excited for lots of things, but the wedding, just to solidify our love, which we do every day. I really do believe we do that, but with everyone around us. The music, we were so clear. Music has to be vibey. Louie's going to do like a silent disco DJ set on the Friday night. Saturday's going to be like, we're trying not to have a tent if it's good weather, but you kind of have to rent a tent.
Yeah, so that's our debate is like when our Pinterest board, we pull up all these pics of these like cute wood tables, cute chairs, twinkle lights. The tent is not really the vibe.
It's not a vibe.
And so we were telling Stephanie, our wedding planner, like, can we just rent the tent and then like last minute if we need it, throw it up? Because I really feel like we can, Lee's going to pull some strings.
Of course.
We can put that energy out there that it's just going to be end of September or mid-September. Beautiful 24 degrees.
Yeah.
No clouds.
Well, actually, you might want a few clouds because it could be too hot. She was also saying you might want a tent because it gets really hot with the sun.
That would be crazy.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really grateful to have a wedding planner because I think we are so relaxed about it all that it would have been a disaster if we didn't have a wedding planner who was like, actually, you need to think about this and that. We'd be like, well, just order a food truck and everyone will be casual. And then
I'm like, we want it to be a special day.
Yeah.
Right? Like even like the bar, like we don't drink, so we want to have great mocktails. We want to have ginger shots. We want to have like all these little details that like we could sit and talk about.
Yeah.
But we need someone who's putting all those pieces together.
Exactly. We're going to do like a few mocktails with our teas too to just make it really personal. I would love to know if anyone has any ideas that they loved, that they've seen at a wedding or that was at their wedding that they would highly recommend we do. Just leave it in the comments because I would be really, really curious about that. I am reading comments, by the way. I know I said I wasn't ever going to, but they come through. They sneak through. Every once in a while.
I still think you shouldn't.
I'm trying. I'm really trying. I don't know how it happens. Like, it's like I just go to watch the video, even just as a viewer with the Kara and Nate episode, and then it's like I see the first 4. How do you stop that? But you read the first 4.
I do read a few, yeah.
I actually read one that I said to Eamon, like, was really sticking with me, and they said, this felt like a funeral. You guys are so boring or something. And I thought, is our podcast
See,
really
maybe
boring?
That's the energy I was bringing this morning.
Yeah.
Maybe that, because you brought that up in the car. I was like, I don't want to read that.
Uh-huh.
So now I'm thinking we're not adding value, and it's like, do people care about the wedding? It's like so boring.
No, but it's not boring.
All right.
No, don't go back into that vibe. You were up and now you're
I'm
back
just thinking
down.
that's why comments suck.
Yeah.
Let them talk, but just let them do their thing. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
like brutal to let that energy into your life.
You're so right. And there are 1,000 comments on that video.
Thousands.
999 of them are just genuinely so grateful for the conversation. And, that's where we put our energy.
But I guess when you get even more aligned and like, true to yourself, I guess eventually you would just realize that that person, you'd feel bad for them, right? It's not even like, it wouldn't even enter your soul as like a negative thing. It would just be like, oh, Elizabeth, I just really feel for you that you're going to take your time to write something negative to try and get a hit. And I'm not going to let that in, but like, I love you. I just want to spread love. That's the ultimate.
Well, I was asking
Place
you,
to get
the
to.
reason I brought it up in the car was because I was wondering if that's where you were with it, because you don't seem affected, or maybe I'm just more honest about it or more conscious of it or something. But I know that that's where I'm headed, so that I can read comments.
Maybe it's when you repeat it. Because I do see that. Like, I don't read the comments. I really don't. But sometimes, you know, that comes up on your thing or whatever. So I'll scroll. But maybe I'm just not even, I'm just kind of like,
getting a pulse on it as a general thing, as opposed to,
or maybe it's the fact that you read it out loud, and now I know it's affecting you, and then it affects me. I don't know.
Yeah. So much to work through. Hey?
Delete the comments.
No. I was trying to encourage everyone to continue leaving comments, because I'm in a place where I do receive the positivity way more than I'm receiving that, but I'm still working through, which is why I brought it up. There was actually a question I saw asking about toxic positivity. So it's this idea where you and I, perhaps to the outside, are toxically positive now, right? Like, I'm saying I'm healed, even though I don't have. Am I allowing space for the negative emotions to come? Or like, how we're navigating that and not just living in this denial almost.
That's really interesting.
It's a very interesting question. I have a take on it.
Please.
Okay. I just didn't want to talk over you. I think there's a huge difference between denial and coming up against it and choosing a different decision with that thought. So in our brain, nerve cells that wire together, that fire together, wire together. So essentially, when you're learning something new, you're creating this synaptic connection where the cells are becoming this bond. It's like when you're learning to drive, at first you don't have that really strong wiring. So you're learning and you have to be really conscious as you drive, etc. But over time, that's such a strong wiring that it's hard to break apart. You can do it unconsciously.
Blindfolded almost.
Yeah. So.
And you do that when you're driving after a long day. You don't even realize you're driving. Your body's just doing it.
Like, how did I get home?
Yeah.
It's the same idea with these positive thoughts or thinking. So currently, especially when you receive a diagnosis, the fear, like, it's almost like it's a bypass to it all. It becomes a very strong wiring because it's such a intense moment. So to prune that apart, the only way to prune it apart is to replace that connection with a different positive thought. So what I do is not live in denial of the fact that that is the truth and that there's a negativity around it and that there's fear around it. I sit with it for as long as it takes. And during my conscious waking hours, I'm constantly replacing that thought with, I am healed. All of my cells are happy and well. You know, I move with ease and flexibility, and I am joy, and I am full of gratitude for this day and this present moment. So there's a huge difference between the two things. And I also believe it's the amount of time that you allow that emotion to exist. So I'm just turning down the volume on them. They still exist. And I'm just saying, hey, okay, I felt fear or I felt anger today. But the old person or a personality could say, oh, I'm angry because that happened and then he cut me off and whatever. And then the next day you're still kind of in an angry mood. And then by the end of the week or the month, you realize that you've been angry for a month over this series of events and it becomes your identity. So I'm just catching it before it becomes a mood and then a temperament and then a personality. So you can have these feelings. We have these feelings. I am very much an emotional person.
We're all human.
We're human.
I think that's
just how long you feel it.
That's my piece, is like, no matter how much you sit there with someone who's tuned into the same energy that wants to spread positivity. So for me, it's me and you, and we have some other friends that we love just, you know, trying to be positive with, and yourself. And no matter how much positivity you want to splash daily, whether you speak it out loud or embody, you still go out into this regular world. So it's impossible to live in this denial la la land of constant positivity, because as soon as you walk out the door, you get hit with a bunch of other shit. So I think as long as I think the more positivity you can spread, the better. The more you can say it out loud, or choose, that person in your life that you want to talk about this with. It's only going to make you more positive. I don't think that there's a denial phase, because the reality is there's just a lot of negative shit going on in this 3D world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in my case, I go to my doctor every 3 months. There's nothing you can deny about blood work and scans and facing the oncologist and, cancer. The word cancer is literally everywhere. It's part of the reason I stopped watching TV and everything. It's like every storyline, it affects everyone, right? Everyone knows someone who's passed of it. And I meet people on the street and they're like, Bec, my mom had died of breast cancer. I'm like, oh, great. Like, I know you're just sharing to bond almost, but it's just everywhere. And so until you rewire that association you have, for me, with that word or whatever,
well, that's why it's so powerful that you're working on the internal attachment to these certain things. So like even the word cancer, if you haven't done the work to reframe what that means to you, you could have the best chemotherapy, the best surgery, and you're still going to be hit with that fear. And that fear is changing chemicals in your body to go into a stress state. And stress is not good for you. Stress leads to more cancer, more diagnosis, more issues. Your body is out of alignment. That's all it is. So yeah, it's a constant battle of I mean, meditation is simply a practice, right? Not that meditation is the answer to everything.
Yeah.
But when you meditate, it's a practice to remind yourself of who you are and that you're pure love, and to try and stay in that state. Right? And it's just crazy to get into this world, because if someone's listening to this and they're like, okay, cool, bro, like, you've lost it.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm okay with that, because I would listen to people a year ago and I would probably listen to this and feel that too. Just know that there is something of bigger power out there, and it's all within you to discover it on your own journey.
I feel like this is the most natural segue into your week-long advanced retreat you were just on. Do you want to share about that and your resistance, or what you were feeling going into it? You just attended, to clarify, Dr. Joe Dispenza's week-long in Orlando. Came back a different person. You were absolutely buzzing while you were there. It was so amazing to even just be someone you were sharing little bits of information with as you were there, because I wanted you to be so present and not on your phone and stuff. But so fun hearing from you.
It was such a cool week. Like, I had a lot of hesitation going into this event. A lot of hesitation into and guilt around like booking a week off. Like, this is your healing journey. This is the work you've been doing. So I've been supporting Bec with kind of doing meditations and kind of getting into this world the last year, but it was very much as a supporter and not for myself. And so once I saw mainly the changes in you, not just the fact that your science is showing that you're healed, or on its way, but once I saw just like your positivity and your energy and the magnetic ability you have now, I wanted it for myself. I want that happiness. I want that joy. So I finally booked the retreat, and with the loving support of you and Craig and Amy, and I was super scared about going by myself, and B, like sitting there and meditating with a bunch of strangers.
Before that, had you meditated for even the hour-long ones?
Every time I did an hour, it was like I'd get half an hour of like maybe feeling okay, and then just like so much distraction, so much self-pity. Oh, my back hurts. I shouldn't be doing this. I should be responding to emails. We haven't launched this. No one's responding to Instagram comments. Like, just all this shit. And so, yeah, I booked it. And then finally the day came and I started feeling excited. I kind of love the unknown. And so I flew to Florida, and yeah, it was honestly one of the best weeks of my life. It really was powerful. Like within, day 1, day 2, you're starting to get your beak wet a little bit. I did the course with Bob. So there's a progressive course you do before you go there, so you're primed. I was pretty primed, seeing how you lived and breathed this for a year. But there's something really magical about being in that room surrounded by other keen people to learn. It's incredible how diverse that group is. I'm talking ages from like 14. There's a 14-year-old at our event.
So cool.
To 70. All different colors, shapes, and sizes. And yeah, like I was on the edge of my seat. This guy is standing there lecturing. I'm on the edge of my seat learning freaking quantum physics and brain mapping and all this science that they're teaching. It's really unbelievable. So yeah, my experience was amazing. I feel like I hit a new level of love and acceptance for myself. My heart like just absolutely shattered into 1,000 pieces. The first coherence healing was probably the most powerful. So if you're not aware with Joe's work, like he does 3 coherence healings, and that's when people apply to be healees, and those people lie on the ground or on a bed, and then the rest of the group, there's usually 6 healers. These are all people at the retreat. They go around and they sit around and they send their energy to the healees. And he guides you through these meditations. The first healing was like, so they let the healies into the room and then the healers are outside. And I was just like, hands on my heart, standing in a lobby with a bunch of people from all over the world. And I was just tuning into my heart. And they talk about brain and heart coherence. And that's the way you can access different energies and frequencies and you become in alignment. And I never really felt what that felt like. But I just was tuning into my heart, and my heart just kept going and going and going and beating stronger. And I really felt like so powerful. And I see this girl that I had met the first day, and she was an Israeli girl, and she was in my group, but then ended up moving group. So I hadn't seen her. We had like a really great connection. And then I just lock eyes with her, and she's just sending me pure love, and I'm sending her pure love. We're just smiling, staring at each other. I close my eyes, and they start guiding you. After a few minutes, they start guiding you into the room. And it's this mother and daughter. The mother's obviously sick. And it was just a very, very powerful meditation. I could feel, I don't want to sound too hippie for people that aren't primed, but I could feel a lot of energy moving through my body into hers. And she came out of the meditation. We were both just crying. Like, I haven't had a release like that in a long time. It was really powerful.
There's something so powerful when you get out of your own way, because it's not about you in that moment. And perhaps me having had the experience of being the Healy and priming you in the way I did, I was like, babe, when the Healys get dismissed, get up, clap for them, because it's the most powerful moment of my life. Like, to see all those people.
That was a really powerful moment.
Wanting to just be there and love on you. And I'm sure it was just the exact right moment for you to just tune into your beautiful heart and how amazing you are, because you are so amazing. I'm so glad it was such an amazing experience. And I think what it really did was invigorate you to have a practice at home. And
I think the main thing is it unlocked the unlimitedness within me, right? I've always had this belief that I'm powerful and belief that I'm going to do big things, but I don't think I've ever had this like love for myself and curiosity about how powerful my mind is. I was very much always like, work smart. Just, it's not like work hard, yes, but work smart. Get things done, move matter to matter, grind. Get out there, say hi to people, introduce yourself, network. And this concept is kind of like surrender. Of course, like still do your work, but like tune into the right energy. Let that energy guide you, which is such a different concept.
Yeah.
It sounds so fucking hippie.
Yeah.
But it's so true.
Yeah.
And Joe gets on stage and he's telling all these crazy examples. The one lady gets on stage, a Canadian mom whose son has crazy autism and starts developing these really powerful seizures. They go to all these experts. The experts say, the son could die in this seizure. And she ends up bringing him to one of these coherence healings. Within the first coherence healing, the kid speech starts improving. Within the second one, his temperament changes. Within the third one, he's playing with his brother. And now all of a sudden he's been, I don't know how many months, but he hasn't had a seizure. So there's definitely something there. If you're curious and you're listening to this and you've never heard of any of this stuff and you're like, whoa, Eamon and Bec are gone. Look up the testimonials. What are they called?
Yeah, there's stories of transformation. But I think, sorry, I got to get this hair off your eyebrow. I think the best place to start, a lot of people have messaged, like, where do you start with all this work, would be the progressive course that you and your dad did together. There's a new revamped version of it.
Thank God. The old one was like
old.
Oh my gosh, it looks like he's in a funeral home. It's like standing there, the carpet's dirty. It was like filmed in 2015.
Yeah.
So there's a new one that he did in Spain with 3,000 people in a stadium.
It's so cool.
Very cool.
It's so funny to me that a year ago I went all in and was like, I'm going to learn what he's talking about. The reason I started, there was a bunch of reasons why I found the work, but Dr. Joe specifically, there was a clip of him on someone's podcast and the person says, are you telling me that this is the cure for cancer? And he was like, I'm not saying it. The data is saying it. And I didn't even need to know what that meant. I was like, I'm all in then. If there is science backing this, and it's epigenetics, it's neuroscience, it's quantum physics, it's science. So that course is just an overview of what that all means and the science of it all and the chemicals we create with our thoughts and our feelings and all of it. So it's a great place to be.
It's very powerful. And it's not just cancer. Like, they're doing some incredible things with PTSD. They did a study with PTSD where like 9 out of 10 people claim that they've healed themselves, like no longer have PTSD. I met a guy in the washroom right as we're leaving, and his daughter took him there, and he was a Navy SEAL or served in the Army or something, and he said he was really suffering, and he had a meditation where he had like a massive release. He felt like this black slime was just getting ripped through his spine.
Oh, wow.
And pulled out. And he just says, like, I'm healed, man. I'm like, I'm a different person.
Wow.
And he's like, I was like, wow, you must be so grateful for your daughter. She's like, she's the coolest chick ever.
Oh, it's so
She was part of the
amazing.
youth group.
Of course. The youth are so cool. Love that.
Last point is just on that week is, I think the example of how I feel like I've changed the most is going into this retreat. I think I mentioned on a previous episode that I had hugged Joe at one of the retreats you were at. I snuck into the walking meditation and ended up opening my eyes, and he was right in front of me, and I hugged him. And so going into this retreat, subconsciously in the back of my head, I was like, I got to get Joe on the pod. Like, that's what I'm excited about, making that connection. And then within day 2 or 3, I just completely changed of like, don't force it, dude. He's coming on the pod. I know he's coming on the pod. Yeah. And an example of that is I ended up going to a dinner with Joe, and it was a charity event for Inner Science, all the back end scans and stuff they do in the background. So we donated to that, and we got to have dinner with him. And so I met him, and I gave him a hug and told him about that we had met before, and he's like, yeah, your wife had cancer, right? So I don't know if he actually remembered or what. But the really cool part is, like, even at that dinner, like, I didn't pitch him. I wasn't like, yo, I got this show. My wife's healed herself. We're unpacking this health journey. It was just like, surrender, dude.
Yeah.
Then I forget my headphones to the walking meditation. I go back up to my room, and I'm turning around to walk back to the meeting point. And literally I've had this like shift where I was like, this energy stopped me in my step. And I was like, just go around that way, because you'll just walk around the back part of the garage, and it'll be much quicker. And I walk through the door, and who's there? It's just me and Joe. And I like, the old me would have been like, dude, that's the moment. That's the sign. No. Hey, Joe, how's your morning? You know? Yeah. So I really feel like there was a shift in who I am.
Yeah. It's so interesting when we talk about changing who we are, especially when we've used all of those tools before to get what we currently have, right? So I think a lot of people have fear of, if I let go of that old personality, I'm not going to achieve anything, because for me, the perfectionism is what got me all of these amazing things and these businesses. And, you know, it's like that hard work and that matter to matter driving and like, you know, that pushing against something, even when it's feeling forced, but I break through and I make the thing happen anyways. That's sort of our energy, right? And so now it's about relearning. And the coolest thing you've said to me was last night, you looked me in the eyes and you said, I don't think I've ever genuinely been this happy. And I know that that's because you've taken this time for yourself, and really just because you have to find happiness within, you know, all this external stuff is just external stuff.
Yeah. And just on that last point, like, it's not like we're sitting at home just freaking meditating.
No, for sure.
You know, we're still working. We're still doing things. We're just leading it with a lot more love and a lot more just like real deep down belief that it's going to be a massive show. It's going to be a massive success. We're going to find as much abundance as we need.
Yeah.
You know, it's all around us.
Yeah.
And we're just going to be in the right energy that, you know, these doors are going to open.
I feel like we could just keep going, but
be really interesting to see what the comments say about this episode. Because it is a small world.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're in it, so it feels like it's a big world.
Yeah,
but
of course.
I feel like we've been unpacking a lot here.
Well, I just wanted to use an earlier example in my life when I had a belief around something, and not until I changed into a different energy did it happen for us. So we have questions about Chaiwalla, and I think we should get into our businesses and things like that. But when we started Chaiwalla, I had a very deep belief that I wasn't even super conscious of, but I was also conscious of it, that money was evil, that I didn't want to make a lot of money, that the people I'd seen who had money in my life were unhappy, that they had divorced parents, you know, like that it just seemed to lead to unhappiness. And I remember sitting down with one of your mom's friends who's like a financial advisor / investor. I'm not really sure.
Very successful lady, yeah.
Super successful woman. I didn't even know why we were having that meeting. Your mom just thought it was a good idea to talk about Chaiwalla with her. And she looked me in the eyes and said, well, what is your belief around money? Because at the time, Chaiwalla was making nothing. We were making nothing. We were living in your mom's basement for like $500 a month or something. Like we just were getting by with very little and weren't making anything. And I said, oh yeah, no, I don't want to make a lot of money. Like it's not for me. And she said, what would someone like you do with a lot of money? And immediately I started thinking about giving back, building a dog shelter in Mexico. Like, you know, it wasn't that, but I could see myself being this giver, which is all I've ever wanted to do. And what I love doing is giving. And it shifted in that moment all of my beliefs around money and abundance. And the second I changed my beliefs, it's like I entered a new energy around it. And until you're in the energy of abundance, you cannot attract abundance. Yeah. And it's like once I changed that, I feel like we leaned into YouTube. It still took time, of course, but there was just this shift around money that started to allow it to flow in a way that wasn't so I'm in lack because I don't want it and I fear it and all of those things. So that's an example from 8 years ago, you know, and it's exactly what I'm talking about today. You have to be a vibrational match for the thing you're trying to attract, or you are telling the universe, I'm not ready for it. You know, it's yours. You can have it whenever you want it, but you have to be the right vibrational match for it.
It's true.
We're gone. We're so gone. We recognize it, guys. Don't worry.
We're so fucking abundant. I really feel it. Like I think we were also talking about this of like when we first had Frank, mm-hmm. I started having these fears around money. Mm-hmm. I started feeling like, you know, we weren't working. The YouTube checks weren't coming in. You know, we're now renting a place in Toronto. I started feeling like, holy shit, are we over leveraged? Mm. You know, and this show hasn't made we had one sponsor last episode. Like, we are not making money yet.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like that's just gonna happen.
Yeah. There's no stress. Hey, it's just, and if I catch myself feeling that stress, you know, it's like, why? Just let it flow. If it's meant to be, it will be. And if not, things will happen that show you that this is not the right path. But everything's telling me right now this is the right path. Let's talk about business.
Okay. Can I pee?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go pee.
Yeah. All right, we're back. We just took a quick tea pee break. Sipping on apple cinnamon. Feel like it's a good time to just once again plug Habit. Apple cinnamon is the vibe for fall-y winter. It's just the best. So cheers. Cheers. Also, kind of related, we'll talk about business, but I just wanted to remind everyone, I don't think I've said it on the pod, but we're doing for our email subscribers of Habit, Bec's Recs every Friday. So you get an email that was something that I've just been really enjoying. And the one that a lot of you missed was a book that I just recently read, which is Signs by Laura Lynn Jackson. Now, if this episode hasn't been hippie enough, I'm about to get into Signs. When Lee passed, I remember her family reading Signs. I guess I'm talking to you.
Oh, yeah. Hey. Really? They read it? Did they read it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Don't you remember Will talking about
kinda
asking for
do.
a soccer
Yeah.
ball, and then he got
Dove.
an email from someone and the soccer ball came
Oh,
through?
yeah.
So this book is written by Laura Lynn Jackson, who's a psychic medium who will also be on the podcast one day very soon. I can feel it. And
A little reminder to please subscribe.
she is all about the fact that you don't need to see a psychic medium to tune into your loved ones on the other side. This is something that we all have within us. We're all so much more intuitive and capable of these things, but we shut it off, I think, because we move through society and everyone kind of thinks that's a bit hippie or weird. So she's just starts the book and tells all these beautiful stories. She works for the Forever Family Foundation. She volunteers her time. So she's been basically verified as a psychic medium because they bring her into these beautiful retreats essentially for parents who have lost children. So they take that very seriously. They're not going to be like, oh, you say you're a psychic and a medium, come talk to these people about their children who have passed. So she has all these amazing stories, the way she's been able to connect with children who have passed for their families, what it's done for the families, etc. So she gets into how to ask for signs. And I was in a meditation. So you have to be in a meditative state. You don't necessarily have to do a meditation, but when you're driving your car, you're kind of in that state, or having a shower. It's this automatic thing for the body. So your mind has the ability to sort of drift in between two worlds and be thinking without analyzing, kind of thing. So I was in a meditation and I thought, okay, you know what, Lee? Like, let's go for it. And the first thing that comes to me is let's ask for a cauliflower. She talks about having very specific asks. You know, like, don't ask for a bird, ask for a purple bird. It's like, how are you going to see a purple bird? Because otherwise your monkey brain starts reminding you, hey, that's not real. You know, you've just kind of attributed that to a sign from your loved one when it's not really a sign. So I just thought cauliflower, really random. I mean, I have a story about a cauliflower, but I think that's
too far gone.
That's for
we'll save that for a few weeks.
That's for like episode 100. When we hit 100, guys, remind me to tell you the real cauliflower story. So this cauliflower, I just say, bring me a cauliflower. And Laura Lynn Jackson says, when you're beginning, it could take 72 hours. Just have patience with it. So I kind of asked for a cauliflower and I was like giggling. Am I going to receive a cauliflower? I don't know. That seems crazy. Day 1 goes by, nothing. Day 2, nothing. The morning of day 3, I just have this feeling I'm receiving a cauliflower. I don't know. I ask again. I say, hey, Lee, just a reminder, I'm waiting on that cauliflower. My eyes are open. It can come in a weird way that I wouldn't expect. It's all good. So that day, I'm home with Frankie. Eamon's gone to a Founders Club event, bowling. And he doesn't know that I've asked for a cauliflower or whatever. You end up at dinner with another guy, just you two, at like a falafel spot.
Talking about spirituality, which is so random because Dan from Culture just started getting back into this stuff. Mm-hmm. So random. And you know when you're at dinner, or maybe you don't, but it was like, you know, we've known each other, we've been friendly, but we're starting to really go deep into like this work, and I'm explaining in my retreat and all this stuff. And the entire restaurant like disappears, right? Like we are so just like present with each other. And the server comes over. I need to tell him this, by the way, because he doesn't know.
Yes.
She comes over and she's just like this ball of energy, this big black lady. She's just like so zesty. I love her. Like right when I met her, we had like a really cool interaction. She comes over. She's like, hey, do any of you guys like cauliflower? And I was like, yeah, I love cauliflower. And she's like, all right, cool. You can take that home. And I was like, I remember just being like, not even questioning it. But it was kind of weird because like it was like a Israeli kind of style restaurant. Like they serve pita. Like I didn't even.
She handed you
a box with a cauliflower.
a whole cauliflower roasted.
Yeah, not even roasted, but not even like cut up or anything. It was a full cauliflower. And I turned around and I was just like, what? You only have one? Like we need two. Like kind of as a joke, right? Because there's two of us. And she's like, you're going to have to share. She gives me a heart. And then we just kind of like finished dinner. We pack up and I grabbed it. And Dan and I never had a conversation like, do you want the cauliflower? It was just like, it was in my hand. So I walked away, you know?
So I've put Frankie down. I come out of her room and I go to open the fridge and I see that there's a box in the fridge.
Yeah. It's not like I came home like, Bec, you won't believe a cauliflower.
Exactly.
Like I wasn't even thinking.
I'm like, oh, where'd you go for dinner? We didn't even acknowledge it. And you say something like, oh, are you hungry? Like there's cauliflower. And I'm like, cauliflower? I was just stopped dead in my tracks. And the important thing about signs is you'll feel when it's the sign. Like you'll know. The monkey brain can't.
Yeah, it's not
stop
like you
in
could
that
be
moment.
at the grocery store and be like, oh, look, it's a cauliflower section.
Yeah, you're not going to have a feeling when that happens. And I go in and I take out this box and I open it and it's just this whole roasted I have a picture. I'll show you guys the picture. I couldn't believe it. And I just thought, I couldn't stop giggling and I could feel Lee laughing too. Just, this is so fun. This is just such a fun new way for us to be connected and think whatever you want. Of course, there's a lot of coincidences and things that align for that to happen, but for her to approach your table out of nowhere.
Yeah,
say,
it's not like
"Do
we
you
were
like
the only table there
cauliflower?"
too. There were many other people eating.
So clearly someone made one too many cauliflower. Like my whole brain has tried to dissect, like, how is this even possible? And why did Eamon say yes? And what? It doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. It was just the coolest sign. So Laura Lynn Jackson's book is all about asking for your own signs, tuning into them, and just knowing that, you know, we're energy, we're a soul, and when the body goes, we don't.
Well, she'll be on shortly. She can explain her book in further detail.
Exactly. So that was a really, really cool, another crazy thing that happened. But so subscribe to our newsletter.
That's a really good one. The other one is the purple elephant, but we'll save that story for another time.
Purple elephant, and then I also asked for 2 cardinals. I just keep asking. I haven't even told you what I've currently asked for. It's like day 2. I don't know how. The things that come to me when I'm asking are so random, but I think that's like the fun game of Lee and I.
I think I asked for something. I'm not going to tell you either.
Okay, stay tuned. Speaking of the Habit newsletter, we could segue a little bit into Habit as a company, how we started as a chai only company, what was the decision to expand and rebrand all about.
You want to go there?
No. Yes.
Yeah, so I feel like for us, we wanted a purpose-driven company. Sure, we love tea. Sure, we're excited about tea. And we have amazing tea. It's all organic. We're really proud of the product. It's compostable packaging. It's direct trade. We buy from the farmers. We can't wait to highlight all that stuff more. But ultimately, we're building a brand around human connection and conversation. And we've seen that throughout our travels is how central tea is to a lot of cultures, and humans gather around the teapot and share. And we really feel like our Western world is more separated than ever. And if we can, play a role in helping bring people together, there's nothing more exciting than that, and that's why we launched Real Talk, our conversation card game. And that's why it has a stand. It sits on the coffee table and is that little prompt that you might need to dive into a more meaningful conversation and have a deeper connection with someone that you wouldn't have had without.
Mm-hmm. So when we had Chaiwala, we also were looking for ways for it to be very purpose-driven. We had Chai for Change as a domain and on Instagram.
I think I still have that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. You have Eamon will come up with an idea, dad's off duty or something.
Lock
he gets
in
the
IG
Instagram
right away.
It's true. The brand needs to have the IG.
Yeah.
And I think this was just the opportunity to expand our product offering. Like we love chai, but we also love matcha, and lavender mint is just my favorite blend. And I wanted to stand behind more than just chai blends, and just that starting from zero and allowing ourselves the space to really think about how do we build a brand with that as the forward piece of it. Like the teas are great, like we just said, but the main mission of the company is to bring people together. And that is what gets us out of bed and excited to be on business calls about habit, because
it's also cool like to start a business from scratch again, because there's so many little things that are annoying. Like, you know, the email domains we had, right? We had Eamon at Chaiwalla Chai, then we had Rebecca at Chaiwalla Chai, then we had Bob at Chaiwalla Chai.
But then we had like Chaiwalla inquiries at gmail.com. That
yeah,
had a bunch of
and we
stuff,
just like
and
all
it was
these emails, and we're like managing all these emails. And then like we did on GoDaddy, so like our website was on GoDaddy, but then
we transitioned,
to WordPress. Then we had Shopify, so it's like, how do you change this thing? So now we're on Shopify. It's all clean.
Remember when the team doing it was like, really, with WordPress you could be, and we're like,
no. No. They were trying
down.
to push so hard WordPress.
They're like, it could be unique. I'm like, no, it's so unique, I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah,
so please just go to Shopify. There was a question
I'm
about.
I'm really happy we stuck with that.
Same. I think that's the best business advice I could give someone, is to trust your gut. Again, maybe we're talking a bit too hippie with that. Maybe you don't know what I even mean by that. But I truly feel your body is like telling you things. And we talk about that a lot as a society, that gut feeling. Our gut feeling said, no, we're on Shopify, which comes with a lot of experience in why we wanted it. But you have to listen and trust your gut. Or with
it's the same with these microphones. You might be noticing that we have these nice new microphones now. These are the microphones I originally wanted.
Your gut said get
My
these.
gut said get these.
Yeah.
And then the guy convinced me to buy the other one because they were cheaper. And I didn't like the way they looked and sounded and all that stuff, so we switched them.
There's a question about financing a company, and I think what I'm really proud of us for always doing is being that startup, that real startup. So with Chaiwalla, we were living at your mom's house, like I said. We're bootstrapping it, just the two of us, and every bag of chai just went to making another bag. So with selling one or two that first time, we could make 4. And we've done the same with Habit. So we are not an investor-backed company, you know, those ones that come out of nowhere and start being on every podcast, sponsorship and everything. That's not Habit, or at least not yet. We have just built it from nothing, and just keep reinvesting. So we're not making any money from it, which is beautiful and wonderful. And it's all about the brand. And I think people miss that piece when they're starting a company, is that they often say, I think it's 3 to 5 years for you to even turn a profit. And then beyond that is, you know, the entrepreneur is the last one to get paid often. So it's all good.
Yeah, Habit's not really making money per se.
Yeah.
It's in debt, but we're abundant, baby. We're going to get there.
There's another question about mortgaging or getting a mortgage when you're a business owner, how that process was for us. I'm not sure if we ever talked about it, but that was just one hell of a month trying to sort that out.
It's really brutal. Like Eamon Bec business was doing quite well. We were cash flow positive, and Chaiwalla also had some cash.
Yeah.
And so we went to the bank and we're like, hey, we want to buy this property. It was $500,000 we wanted a mortgage for. And they were like, nah, you're too risky. Even though Chaiwalla had been established 5 years, Eamon Bec had been 4 or 5 years. And that's just not enough. I mean, I think
Because
the
it's
bank system in Canada is so, they fit you in a box. And if you're not like a lawyer or a teacher or like a stable job, you just don't fit in that box. So anyone outside of that, it's too high risk, which is ridiculous. But that's what it is.
So Eamon's mom had to co-sign for us and owns 1% of our, legally, I think.
She does.
Of our property, because we hadn't been drawing a salary. I was just saying, you stay lean when you're starting companies and you keep the cash in the business so that you can reinvest it. So we'd only ever pulled very minimal salaries, like maybe $30,000 each a year, so that we could live and start having savings. And the bank did not like that. So yeah, it was definitely challenging, but I wouldn't change it. I mean, we were very lucky to have your mom's support and being that cosign, but I think there was a way that we could have gone to the right broker or someone and said, please, let's.
Well, if we'd given them like 10%.
Yeah.
Like
so there is a way if you say, please account my business for this, but we were able to figure it out. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to buy a house. We got to pay off the cottage.
We'll figure it out.
Pay off the cabin first. Any other questions? You said you want to do some rapids.
Well, there's one rapid one about my style, which I thought was really cute, but I think it encompasses yours too. It's like we were minimalists, right? And now I'm wearing color. And I think a big piece of why I didn't experiment with color and patterns was when you're a minimalist and you have 25 items of clothing, if they're not beige, white, or black, it starts to get pretty crazy to match things and to live out of a 50 square foot van with your partner, so you have a teeny tiny cupboard worth of clothing. And I think when we moved, especially to Toronto, I just started feeling like my clothing was so boring and I was so and it's like, why? Life is way too short to wear boring clothing.
I agree.
And I think we both just started getting excited about the idea of more color and patterns and necklaces. Hello, Eamon.
Thank you,
Eamon's
baby.
wearing necklaces.
I mean, I credit a lot of that to do with Amy, but like
Oh,
accessories
that's right.
are fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, why not have some fun? Like, we're just here on this rock spinning around. Dress it up, baby.
Yeah.
And they're not expensive. Like, this necklace was $10.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's fun.
When we went to Cancun, I think we shared on Karen Nate's episode, Craig and Amy were there. My brother and Sarah ended up coming. And Amy every night would like put out her clothing and she would just say, okay, like let's get dressed. And she'd dress us all in different outfits and necklaces. She's a big accessory girl. So you're right. It probably sparked a lot of my love for everything this year too. So thanks, Amy. You're so fun. Because she just has fun with it, doesn't she?
Yeah, and she's got great style.
Great style.
She
She's
puts
not
things
afraid to
together
take
where
risks.
you're like, if you looked at those articles of clothing and be like, how is that going to work? But
it works.
baggy cargo pants with a dress. I feel like she's worn that sometimes.
I think that's what you wore out in Cancun. A lacy dress and baggy pants.
I did. Got mad compliments on it too.
We could maybe share a photo of that. That would be funny.
This shirt never gets. This is the number one most complimented shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it on you. You look great. Okay. How about, are we still looking for property in Mexico? And how is Cerritos Beach Dogs doing? I feel like this is a very exciting update.
Timely update. So there's a question here about CBD, Cerritos Beach Dogs. That's the dog shelter we built in Mexico. Well, so we kind of had this vision to start this dog shelter, and Alex got a call like the day before or something, and there's a bunch of dogs that need help. So we went out to Cabo and picked up this mangy dog. We can pull up a clip. We named him Tofu, and he's kind of been the mascot of CBD.
She's a she.
Oh, sorry,
Sorry,
it is a girl. She's been the mascot of CBD. No one's adopted her. She's been there for 2 years. Sweet dog. She loves being on her back. You can flip her on her back and give her like the most belly rubs. She's like a little pit bull kind of mix, and all her mange is healed and her hair started growing back, and the transformation is really drastic because now she's got quite a bit of meat on her.
Yeah.
So I'm so proud of Cerritos Beach Dogs, and I really don't want to take credit for anything they're doing. Yes, we supported kind of them getting off the ground, but we've been completely hands off. And the team there, Mackie,
Augustina. Is Tuco still there?
Last I saw, Tuco was still there.
Yeah.
Those 4 people have been there from day one, and I think there's some new faces there. I can't wait to get back down and reconnect, but it's super, super lucky, I think, to be able to put that team together and then still, those are travelers. None of them are Mexican.
Yeah.
So to have those 4 people commit the last 2 years to this organization is incredible. And if you feel generous this Christmas season, I know they would appreciate the support. So
sorry, did you say that Tofu went to a home in Canada?
Oh, maybe not.
You just said it was an amazing transformation, but yesterday Tofu flew from Mexico, Cerritos, in Baja California.
Point.
Yes. And she, after 2 years, has been adopted to a loving home in Vancouver.
She's coming to Canada.
She's in Canada.
Yeah.
And I saw her walking on her little leash down the streets, and it's like she's a Canada girl.
She's going to lose it with the snow.
Oh my God.
She's going to need a jacket.
Oh, and I just want to highlight how grateful I am to have had that experience, that you just decided to take that plunge and build the shelter. And to know that we've had a small piece in allowing these dogs a very different shot at life. I think Tofu wouldn't have made it much longer when we found
They've
her.
rescued, I think, 80 dogs out now, and they've done spay and neuter. They've supported spay and neuter clinics, which of course is the most important part.
Totally.
Stopping it from the source.
Yeah.
Still a massive issue, and you know, I would love to go back and support more.
And then in terms of moving to Mexico, we were so, I think especially because we built that shelter and we felt such a sense of purpose. We're always looking for purpose, you know, and our hearts were behind that community and the mission of saving dogs and seeing the transformations, like knowing that these dogs weren't going to live another day or two, and then watching them fly up to Canada and have a new life in the snow. And it's just incredible.
Even just watching like how fragile these dogs are. Like some of them are so sick, full of parasites. And then seeing them over they get the antibiotics, and over the 2 weeks, they're just getting happier and happier.
Playful.
Yeah. It's really amazing.
Yeah. So I think because in that time, we were so fulfilled with Cerritos Beach Dogs, we were very keen on moving there.
We put an offer on a place.
Yeah.
A really good offer that did not get accepted.
For a great reason. I think if we had that place, we would feel as though we need to be in Mexico half of the year. And now I love that we have the freedom to say, oh, well, we haven't really shared where we're going in January, but we're doing a ski trip with a bunch of friends in Colorado. And then we're going to Hawaii and Australia with my brother, Sarah and Sophie. And so I just love the spontaneity of life where it's like, oh, you guys want to do that? Adam's taking a paternity leave. Why don't we come too? And I think if we had that place in Mexico, it would have been an expense that would have drawn us back there. And I'm sure that would have been beautiful for other reasons.
And I think the time might still come.
Yeah.
I don't know. Cerritos is a special place.
Totally. And like the dog shelter being there is the number one driver for me to want to go back there.
I could see Frankie volunteering there in the mornings.
Honestly.
Yeah. Surf. It's a great spot. Quickly on that point, we're bringing the show on the road. So we have some guests lined up in Hawaii and Australia. If there's anyone you would love to get on the show or see on the show, leave a comment. And
maybe even tag them. Like maybe we'll do a post on Instagram so people can start tagging their favorite influencers, creators, neuroscientists. I think Kim Snyder's in Hawaii. Hi, Kim. I'd love to have you on our pod. Yeah. One of the other big questions I saw, or I kind of have for both of us, is what keeps us working so hard when we have achieved some milestones? You know, we could have not rebranded a tea company and sort of coasted with Chaiwala, or maybe shut it down. Sell it. And instead, there's something in both of us that keeps us going. For me, the reason I'm here creating this piece of content is my sense of purpose. I feel very fulfilled doing this. I really know that we're reaching. I've seen the emails and the comments about the impact it's had on people in big and little ways. And that to me feels like my purpose in this lifetime. So it's really not about anything other than that. I wouldn't show up if it was. I
think that's part of why maybe my energy was off during the show, is like I feel the same way. Like what I'm excited about this show is to interview interesting people, and I don't like sitting and talking about our lives. That's what like with the wedding and stuff like that. Like I don't know if I just want to like sit and talk about things. I'd rather just do it. And so when we do these episodes, like we'd love feedback on like if you like this. But to me, I don't feel fired up to do these kind of episodes where we just sit and talk about things we've done or our experiences.
Well, then I think this might be the last you and me episode.
Yeah, maybe.
That's okay.
But what I'm Excited about is interviewing other people or unpacking new things that we've learned. I guess when it comes to like vlogging, it's different because you're showing them. You know,
this could be a very you thing though, you know?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. You're just such a doer, and you're always changing and evolving, and your hair is just one example of that, but I think it's a very physical manifestation of who you are. You don't get attached to anything. you're always willing to change. And it's something I admire about both of your parents. Your dad is 70 and your mom in her 60s. They're both always open to, oh, you don't like when I make the carrots for Christmas with all that butter and sugar? Why don't I try something different? Like, they're very open to change. That becomes so hard as we age. So I admire that so much about your parents, but it's who you are through and through. You're like, my hair, like, I'm ready to do this. Like, let's make it blonde. Let's grow it out. Let's have a bun. Let's cut the bun off. Let's have blonde, but that's who you are. So if you're not evolving in this moment or doing or changing, there's something going on where you just have trouble sitting in the moment as is. Do you think?
That's valid.
Yeah. You guys know that we are on a mission to be one of the most reviewed or the most reviewed podcasts.
One of the most. What a limiting belief.
Exactly. Changing that in real time. So we wanted to just shout out and thank Alex Legault. I'm sure it's Lego. Review is plug in and rethink, re-energize. Thanks, Alex. Every time I finish a Reroot podcast, I am left excited to challenge myself and to explore every opportunity to grow and learn. We were just talking about that. As a young-ish person uncertain of where my future lies, these two remind me to work hard at the things I love and to embrace alternative ways of living while questioning what it means to find success and happiness every day. Thank you for being vulnerable with us always. That's so beautiful. Thank you for your beautiful review, Alex. They genuinely mean the world to us. Shall we do 2 real talks and then sign her off?
Yeah. All right, we're going to pull a question from Real Talk, which is now available on the site if you haven't purchased one.
Drinkhabit.com.
Okay, this one might be interesting. What's something that makes you uncomfortable? Maybe we should do it for the opposite. I'll answer yours and you answer mine.
Okay, cool. What makes me uncomfortable?
You don't like putting other people out.
Yeah, I was going to say when other people are uncomfortable around me.
No, even if they're not uncomfortable, the concept of you disturbing someone is very uncomfortable for you.
I think I'm getting better, but yeah, agreed.
What about me?
What makes you uncomfortable? When people don't want to have a deep conversation or want to talk about fluff, I think. It's uncomfortable is maybe the wrong word. You're just so disinterested that you just walk away. So you actually have no discomfort. You're really good at exiting. I have to rehearse how to leave conversations. You are like, all right, and you just walk away. So I don't know if you're uncomfortable. What makes you uncomfortable? Sitting with yourself alone, but you're overcoming that every day. I think being by yourself, being alone. Yeah,
even though I'm like much better at like meditating, I'm still not very good at being by myself.
When did you last belly laugh? That's the flip of that card.
Belly laugh?
I know. That's such a good one. Hey.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I should laugh more.
This isn't a belly laugh, but to go back to my gym one more time. Last night, it's the opposite of a belly laugh. It's like an emotional release. She did this thing where she shut all the lights off and we were sweating because it's a hot room so much. And she had us like believe that or visualize that we were we had walked up to our shoulders in a cold lake so you could feel cool, everything. And we were just putting our hands like this along the surface of the water, but like really wide. And she's like, take up space. She's like, just let it all out, And then all of a sudden, she just makes this noise like, ah! And there's probably 70 people in the class. Everyone starts going, ah! And we're all having this massive release that leads to some laughter. So it was for me like this belly guttural laugh, but not because I thought it was funny, because it was a release of energy. So it was like, I wasn't laughing at anyone or I loved what we were doing. It was like, for me, it went from to like, it was this guttural laugh.
Actually, it was cool at the dispenser retreat. We had a moment where it was at the end of a meditation and some person in the back started laughing and then another person started
kind of
laughing.
Like that same release of energy laugh though. Or laugh.
But like a real laugh. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like super deep. And then the whole, like trickle. This person's laughing. Ha, 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 ha. I thought it was fake. And then boom, the entire
room is laughing.
2,000 people are laughing. It
You know
was
that
it was
video?
really cool. Yeah, it reminded me of that video. We can link that in our Facebook group
Yeah, okay.
because I saw it. It's on YouTube.
It's such a great video. It's like one person goes on the train, I think with the purpose of filming and making people laugh. So they have a really contagious laugh and they just start laughing, and then someone's looking at them like a little bit judgmentally, and then somebody else behind them starts giggling too, and then before you know it, the whole subway is laughing. And that's so cool for so many reasons. Laughter is such amazing medicine. It's contagious. And we want to make content like that for Habit. Your dad said he's willing to get on the subway and film himself doing that, which would be so fun.
We should do it.
I do want to just touch on our idea for Habit's social media because we're currently hiring for the role, and it's become even more clear to us. It almost slipped away from it because you are a business, so you're trying to sell tea, but we don't want
Especially
any of
because
our
we're not making money yet.
yeah, but we don't want any of our content to be tea.
Yeah.
We want it to be human connection. We
Yeah,
want it to be-
and it's getting blurry because we just hired this agency, and they're like, well, we need to do these ads,
right.
So they're like, it's
They're the
easy to slip
ads.
back into it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think the ads we'll run will be different because we have to showcase how to make the tea and stuff like that, or why it's premium and stuff. But I think our content should and will be human connection at the forefront always.
Yeah, because I just don't understand, why would you follow a brand otherwise? Not just human connection, but why would you follow a brand if it's not adding value and like or entertainment, right? Like you know, you look at Red Bull as like the peak example. They sell sugar water. There's not a single can on their page, right? It's all these crazy adventure sports, and they have millions of followers. I think human connection is our adventure sports.
Love that. Amazing. Okay, mic drop. Thanks for chatting with me today, bud. We'll get the listener feedback and we'll tune in with your energy and see how you're feeling for another one of these.
Yeah,
soon.
let us know, guys. I always enjoy sitting down for an hour with my wife anyway.
I think that's the best part, honestly. I will do this every time you're up for it because I love connecting with you. I really, really do. So thank you.
You're a powerful human. Cough, cough. Peace.
Thanks for listening.
Every day.